Very good afternoon to all of you, and all the August gathering here from the various heterogeneous group. I can tell you, there's a faculty member. I am comfortable that some of the bankers also there, Mr. Mitra, Mr. Chakravarti, and all these faculty members of this institute, all other friends assembled here, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from the media, and especially really some good friends of Calcutta. Maybe there's somewhere I've met them or worked with them from the various bank in the various forum. It is really a great pleasure for me to be here today, and certainly I must thank the management of the International Management Institute, Kolkata, for giving this opportunity and just little bit share my thoughts. Mr. Mitra was telling that, okay, I started my career as a professor. Maybe that is always tempting to just share the thoughts, but the difficulty of the teaching profession is that always they think they're whoever just sitting opposites, they are the students. So it is not the case. I think a lot of learned and great wisdom people are here. But even then, actually, because this opportunity is given to me, so I'll share my thoughts about the topic what Mr. Mitra as well as the institute prescribed for me, that is Indian economy and the role of the banking sector. It is already told that, okay, I am not a really lot of economists here, so please pardon me if something really, though the related things, certainly the banking is there, but even then I think a lot of economists is here. Maybe some of the data, some of the statistics, they may be knowing better than me. But even then, how it is related to the banking, how it corroborates to the banking, that is more important to share with about. And especially I understand that, okay, this topic is no doubt contemporary. I always feel delighted to come in Calcutta, not because of the cultural relations or I am from that city. But basically what I feel that, okay, this intellectual richness is very much here in this city. And certainly there is some weakness or some soft corner is always with the city, wherever I worked with. Incidentally, out of my 30 years of career in banking, very minimum period I spent in Calcutta, maybe 5 or 6 years altogether. And last 2 years in Allahabad Bank when I was executive director, I started my career in banking in Bank of Baroda in 1982. So for that intellectual richness we are talking about, and basically the specific diversity, and I can tell you this culture of Calcutta, whatever may be the criticism outside the place or outside Calcutta, we have this weakness, we have this soft corner, we have really to boast of a lot of things for Calcutta itself. The academic institutions of Calcutta always a special place in the country. Contributions is very much, we know about this education standards here itself. Maybe now this earlier it was not this competitive culture in the academic institutions. Now when we are the students, there is no question of ranking there itself. Rather ranking was given only to the students for their results, not to the institute so far I remember. But anyway, I think it is a good thing that, okay, this is a one side of the, I can tell you the governance as well as the students basically who are here. I like to share with them also that, okay, it is really very much privileged to have this type of environment in the college, where basically I can tell you that high degree of education is being imparted to the students. Maybe the present generations are really much lucky about having this business school of this standard. Certainly it is I understand that it is the first corporate sponsored business school. IMI-Kolkata has entered it. It is the second year that I just wanted to know. This is the new auditorium just inaugurated. And what I understand and what I really get the figure. And even in the various magazines also, there's different articles are coming when the college and the standard of the education is also being discussed here. About just 1 month back, rather 2 months back, I was invited by the Wellington Institute of Management in Bombay. So really I had not visited this type of modern institute as such. the educational standard, their infrastructure, and I think that it is really until some sort of the corporate tax is not the backed by the corporates, but the corporate tax is there in the educational institutions, the mentality of the students will not grow for that. So I feel that okay, this is a great opportunity for them also to be here in this type of standard institutions for their imparting the study. I hope that okay, my topic will be certainly specifically the Indian economic position, where basically standing about a lot of criticism, lot of other I can discuss with, sorry, it has been discussed in the market about this India's future and other things. It is a loyalty to the work is more important for that. So you may change the bank, you may change the organizations, you may change this particular place, but basically whatever the loyalty to work, I think that pays for it. Just to share with you, it's my third bank. I started my career in Bank of Baroda, then Allahabad Bank, and then Union Bank. Maybe a lot of cultural differences there, geographical differences there, business mix is different, the work culture varies place to place. But I understand that everywhere some strength are there. Sometimes we are only pointing out the weakness. So the young generation who are basically the management graduate from the institute, that okay, how really they can be useful to the society, that is more important about. All the management graduates or the postgraduates are not searching for the employment, that I do believe. Even they are more comfortable, maybe, that okay, they want to be entrepreneurs. Earlier they thought that okay, who is having the capital, he can go for the business. Now they are thinking of a lot of other institutions or some of the other various help, not only the financial but the technocratic help also they are getting to start some business. I know one of my friend's son, he was 15 years in US, just is coming back to start with some business. Because what is telling that okay, lot of contribution he can give to the society. These thoughts were not earlier in the mind because the infrastructure, the education, the risk-taking capacity was not earlier that much. So in that case, I feel that skill building is a great challenge. It is all over the country, not only the corporate world as such. Maybe there's somebody who are attached to the corporate world in Calcutta, they are thinking that okay, why I'll go out of Calcutta. Even if that was the concept in the banking also, that okay, I'm limited in the West Bengal itself. That time what happens, you know, until these people are moving around, the benchmark will be only that place, which is basically is not needed about it. There should be some broad spectrum in the mind that okay, how really better we can look into. Whenever at the time of admission a student thinks that okay, why I cannot get a better or the entry or the admission in good institutions or the good management institute. So that time we are thinking about the quality and benchmarking myself above average educational institutions. Why it will not happen in the work field? Why it will not happen in this case of the innovations in the corporate world also? It is not the question of the changes taking place in all over corporate sectors, including bank. Because that day just I was sharing with that okay, in course of, in a time maybe in the 40s, the people who are having the very good handwriting they are being taken in the bank. I am giving this example because to write the fixed deposits receipt, because it was some sort of the treasure of a person that okay, he is having the fixed deposit of 5,000 or 10,000 with a very good calligraphy, and this were being taken for that. Some of the people who had taken there itself that okay, they will simply do this specific job about the market inquiry of the borrowers. Maybe that they are known as the munshi or something like this. That okay, they will just do the due diligence. But again I am telling, that is not the question of the loyalty to the particular institutions, but it is the loyalty to the work. Therefore I am telling that present situations of the present generations, they are more required to be really, due diligence is not the question of the banking sector as such, but it is required in the other sector also. So therefore I mean to say, it is not only the academic qualifications, but I feel that okay, it is some of the skill development is also very much required in the modern generations who are basically the students are taking this education in all this institute. Imperatives for the corporate India, which is basically I feel that okay, they are playing a very constructive role in India's past also. If you see the corporate growth, I don't like to give any statistics about the corporate growth as such, but the tendency of the professional management in the corporate sectors has really manifold increased over a period of time. Earlier we thought that okay, professional management means that okay, some of the professional people to be appointed, maybe chartered accountant, maybe cost accountant. But if a chartered accountant is joining a particular institution and still he is to depend only the corporate philosophy or the philosophy of the entrepreneurs, really he is loyal to his work. That is this big questions for all the students or the young students mind as such. They have the novel idea. Earlier they may not be getting that much of inputs, not that much of the free competence, that much of the free, I can tell you, that free environment to share with. Now slowly the management is getting opened in the corporate world also. So this way of the thinking in the corporate world has changed a lot. About 2 weeks back I was reading an article in the business world that in India also that 66% corporates are the family owned. 66%. Which is basically more or less, if we see this, our Asian composition also, it is more or less maybe the varying from 62% to 66%. I mean to say basically there may be some corporate structure is there, but still it is family oriented business here itself. It is not the question of the family orientation or the particular group orientation. Question is the governance. Question is basically how they are allowing the people to grow with, not only the skill development of himself, because ultimately any skill really developing basically the corporate culture and other things also. Earlier we are not comparing about any of the sectors comparison as such, that whether it is contributing or not contributing. But we are doing not only this basically the intra-company or the inter-company, even somewhere we are just comparing with the world also, which this basically is happening like this. Once upon a time in Indian banking system, the cost-income ratio was more than 70%. Now this bank is self-exercise they are doing, how it can be reduced to 40%, that is cost-to-income ratio. What is my total cost? I am telling about other than interest cost. It is the establishment of the operating expenses, which is basically at the time, because that time this thought process was not there, that okay, bank also has to make a profit. So in that case, that challenge is also came in the mind that okay, how it can be like this. About 30-40 years back, nobody could really think that okay, bank require capital for it. But now their banking is the capital is a big question. I think my all friends, they know about that okay, the Basel III committee is coming in the bank, that okay, they are requiring the huge capital of the next few years. And even I am telling you that okay, maintaining this capital also, very little scope to go to the market for the Indian banks, especially the public sector bank. Then ultimately, if really the skill development is not there, how really it help the bank, and how in consequence this bank will help in the economy to grow for it, manage the organizations in a better way. The new people who are really the future business magnate, entrepreneurs, industrialists, or a great management consultant, or a great business manager, every field it is very much required friend. So therefore just you try that okay, how your skill which you developed, how you can better it to mix. In the Olympic Games, the particular player is himself is setting his target. That okay, if really he can cover this distance with the 5 minutes, whether he can make it 4.8 minutes or something like this. So that is the challenge basically we can increase in the corporate world, and that is increasing. Maybe the little bit growth is slow, but it is happening in the corporate world. So here just I am telling you that okay, which basically require the investment in the innovation, investment in the technology, invest in the management and the people, and certainly I think the Indian entrepreneurs are presently looking into that okay, it has the really had a role on these things. Even when I was a student also, that time we think that okay, some of the big industrialists, they are running some school in the certain places. Either they are originated from that place, or they are having some cultural connections that okay, I can start some hospital, I can start some school or college there. So it was some sort of I can tell you the emotional connections rather than basically the demand connections as such. But now what is happening like this? This institute as one of the example for that, okay, really these institutes can really help to the society about it. How this can be integrated, that okay, whenever a particular corporate just here earning their profits from the economy itself, from the environment itself, from the society itself, how can really this corporate world can give back to this society so that again will come back in a cyclical way and they can contribute to the Indian economy as such. Similarly, in the case of, I can tell you, the software technology, we can really boast that okay, our technocrats are really doing a havoc in the outside India. But how about this really technology? We are getting these infrastructures. Maybe that is this young managers should think about that okay, how the technology can be really think of to developments and to come to the society for it. I know that okay, in this banking also earlier what happens, it takes about 3 to 4 hours to open a savings account or the current account in a particular bank. Now taking this technology, presently it may be 15 to 20 minutes maximum to cover up. Maybe that lot of compulsions came now, maybe the KYC norms, maybe the other compulsions being a public sector bank, because we are responsible for it. Lot of other threats also came in the market that okay, maybe some money laundering or other things, these cares to be taken. But I think this is the knowledge just we can disseminate in the society that okay, how really this young group can really, I can tell you the advice as well as take the benefit to really help them to help the society. That is more important about the management institutes. I think I can think of the teaching here itself. In that case, I can tell you that we can really boast about this various software technology. But anyway, I think there's a lot of scopes. Maybe that our investment figure will be very much there itself. But I think the time has come that okay, certain budget is very much required. That how much really we can go for the investment in the various software technology and other technology also. In the manufacturing sector, one aspect needs the improvement, which is called the productivity. We are much behind if we see that about not only the big countries, but certainly I am telling about this, maybe the China, maybe the Brazil, maybe the Thailand, we are much behind about the productivity. Normally what happens, sometimes our measurement skill may not be that much fruitful to really measure with. Suppose I am telling about the agriculture advances. We are simply going for the, okay, how much money we have really lent to the agricultural sectors. But really how much unit of lending, how much unit of money, which is basically how much really this productivity is increased in terms of the quality and the quantity, where is that measurement? I can show that okay, my 20% growth is there in the agriculture. Who are the bankers that may be knowing, sir, these are the target 18% of my really to reach in the agricultural sectors, and we are searching where basically this facility can be termed as agriculture. It is not the spirit like this. Whether really the agricultural lending or the inputs for the agriculture, farming and other things, how which help in the productivity, both in the quality and quantity. I think that basically is a mixture of the understanding as well as the integrated of the modern technology as well as our various technology which are basically developing in the world over. So certainly it requires a robust policy to all integrations in the various corporate sectors. So bank is also one of them, how really better integrated with these sectors, that is very much important. Maybe 30 years, 40 years back, a borrower was to just depend only on the about years after year for a particular sanctions. Even I know the staff housing loan also, it takes about more than a year to get its sanctioned housing loan. And we are committing to the customers now that okay, you will get your housing loan within 6 days. There is a competition among the bank that okay, whether it will be 5 days, or maybe some little bit more. That's what I'm telling you, that this will help our improving the benchmarking system, that okay, how we can better, which is basically deserves and requires the huge investment in the infrastructure. Then I'm telling about realign the priorities and the corporate stakeholders' responsibility, profit maximization, market leverage and global competitive. Certainly it is getting some importance there itself, and I think little bit measurement in each parameters is very much required, that how a leveraging can be done, how much really the corporate governance issues are there, I am giving more importance about all these factors, that ethical behavior of a person, ethical behavior of an organization. Ethical behavior means whatever we can tell about that maybe the society is like this only, that value orientations, or I can tell you the value may be little bit decreasing because of the competitive world, because of the situations like this. But whatever the best we can maintain the ethical standard or the corporate governance, that is more important. That culture is very much required. If the individual make it a practice of it, then only the corporate culture will really inculcate there itself. If a individual persons in a particular organization is not of that moral value or the ethical value, a organization cannot really make this corporate as with the ethical value. Why I am telling like this? That maybe that about 50 years of 60 years back was that like that whoever doing the business is only targeted profit maximization. That was the wrong notions in the mind of the various people also. Is it really now? Then why are you inviting so many entrepreneurs from the outside also? Because we can understand that if we really integrate with other things, so profit maximization is not a very dirty word as such, but this maximization is in question of our, in the world parameters, your competitive parameters, that is more important about. So in that case, I think that ethical behavior in the organizations, proper definition of the code in a particular corporate world, individuals, I think that make a aggregate thoughts in a particular organization, which is basically a corporate philosophy, should be, and that is improving also. Presently, a lot of our CSR activities, including the public sector bank also, we are doing for it. Maybe that today we are showing as a little bit the responsibility on it, that okay, I have to do this corporate social responsibility, but in course of time, I think it will be really make a good chance to really play a role or vital role for it. In this case, I am telling how basically the Indian banking sectors basically are helping in this world, in the corporate world as the business world as such. Everybody knows about that basically where the intermediations, the banking business are nothing but the intermediations, that channelizing and mobilizing of the resources and channelizing these resources to the industry or the individual. Here also I can tell you that maybe that earlier only more importance was given to the corporate world in respect of lending. But now I can tell you that we are quite mature banker, not only channelizing resources only to the particular corporate sector, but the individual also. Maybe housing, maybe a vehicle loan, maybe other demand loan, maybe other consumption loan also. So what I mean to say that, okay, Indian banking is really opened up in these things. Maybe some issues are there. 50 years back, there is no question of any fraud here and there. But presently, this is a big question. Maybe not only the cyber fraud also is reached in the more the technology we can proceed with these threats will be there. But whether really we can making this justice that okay, right from the individual borrowers to the corporate world, so whether this bank is helping a lot, and that is a great development in the banking industry over a period of just I can tell you about 30 to 40 years. There is a great development as such. In respect of the growth perspective, I can tell you that okay, broad sectors of the economy, as I told, is not the question of individual sectors, but I am telling you agriculture, industry, and presently what is the present thoughts of these bankers segments as such to really give the boost in the agriculture, SME, retail, and basically what are the other sectors you are coming for. In that case, I can tell you that significant improvement is observed. Maybe that we are concerned only about the NPA or the non-performing assets in the bank. But until we make the individual borrower responsible in this way, then we can make them standard for it. If farmer if he really is not interested to repay the loan, certainly it is the responsibility of the society, not only the banker also, that okay, how really is the money revolving in the particular banking sector. If really they have to wait for okay, some waiver will come or something will come and then for it. If I am just telling in some seminar in just 2 weeks back in Bhopal, there is a lot of actions with the various farmers and so I was telling when a corporate borrower is getting a loan of 5 crores today and he is increasing his limit to 6 crores or 7 crores over a period of time, why not it is happening in the agricultural sector, the farmer sectors? Whether they are getting this comfort about this. So maybe coming with this compliance lending, we are going for the productive lending. That should be the challenge, and how it can be tied up with this various corporate world, maybe which are the agriculture activities, farming activities, or I can tell you which are basically the corporate worlds are attached to it. If really a SME sector to grow, there may be thought of the corporate to just integrate with these SME borrowers, because they may be the dirt of the finance, they don't have the equity. So today I am thinking that okay, I am getting this certain inputs at maybe at very zero cost, I can tell you, not low cost rather. What I mean to say, that credit is being taken by maybe 3 months, maybe 4 months. These SME borrowers may not be getting this money from the banks because they don't have the really good balance sheet to show, good professional management people are to show. Then today I am just in the really comfortable position that okay, I am not thinking for this small SME units. But today this will be the threats for me that okay, whether this input supply will be there or not. Earlier it was only the question of the trade union problem or the labor problem or the industrial relations problem. But I think present situations are more other this way that okay, whether my input supply is quite low. Now presently this lot of issues are coming in the coal. So not only certainly these power sectors that should think about what is the alternative sources of it. If really one source is dried up, then what is the other alternative things? Therefore, what happens in the total society when I'm thinking about in the Indian economy, just I think time has come to think of the small units, how were the suppliers of the inputs in this corporate world as such. So therefore, I think this is a more important time to think over in the integrated way to just Indian economic development. Coming to the other point about this, I can tell you that I have already indicated, I don't like to elaborate further, that infrastructure sector demands a huge investment, which is basically bank maybe 30%, 40% is financing. So in that process, some of the funds, some of the other things should come up, whether the bank can join hands, the corporate world can join hands, so that it is a development of the infrastructure. I worked in Gujarat when I was my earlier bank. In that case, what I understand, that they are telling that it is a rural branch or the village. But I have seen, I did not see any soil there at all. It's totally road is pakka. And I know that okay, maybe the scale 1 is a branch manager, but their branch manager is scale 4, that is chief manager, because of the business growth there itself. So really we can think about in this way that it is not helping the other populations for sector. Maybe that some people have thought in this way that okay, this infrastructure is required. Maybe the individual thought which is basically complied with or integrated, that may be social thoughts or the, I can tell you the thought in aggregate. That is more important in respect of the infrastructure, lending as well as things. When I am just talking about the good car, the good road should be there. When I am talking about the high technology of my TV or my other modern gadgets, I really need my uninterrupted power. That is more important. So what I mean to say that this role also to be played in general and in aggregate in our Indian economy, that is more about it. Coming to this point about that, okay, that certainly I am in the Union Bank, so certainly you can think over a little bit I am selfish, but basically I am a banker. I am not talking about only the Indian Bank. But basically I can tell you that okay, we are having in our positions is basically in number 5th in the banking sector as such. It is about 92 and 93 years old bank. But what I feel, as I told earlier also, that strength and weakness is everywhere like this. So in that case, this bank also is architectural, I can tell you this IT's architecture is excellent. But in that case also, whatever the leveraging was required in increase the business, we could not do it. I was just telling in the morning with some of the friends sharing with that okay, our branch as the ATM ratio is 1.6. That means for 10 branches there is just 16 ATMs. The 60% transactions are being routed through alternate channels only, maybe ATM, maybe RTGS, maybe other mode of the things. But still I am telling you, the way these other banks also suffering or the customer service, maybe here also the same picture. So here also I can tell you that okay, our thrust only for this bank, okay, which I told about this agriculture, retail, as well as mortgage loan and this things to give this emphasis about it. Maybe that after 10 years there will be no check at all, only the fund transfer will be there. We could not think when the mobile has come in the market in 1991 that okay, mobile can work as a banker also. So that day I was listening one lecture of Narayan Murthy, he was telling that it is a word of the Bill Gates that I don't know whether the bank will stay or not, but banking will stay. So I don't know how many threats are coming in this way. So therefore, that each and every bank, including our bank also, just okay, how we can really grow with this modern society as such, and how it can be integrated. That is the role for it. The theme of this bank also, it was inaugurated by Mahatma Gandhi in 1921, this bank. So certainly the famous word that okay, we are only dependent on the customers are not dependent on us. I think that will remain ever. I think that is the logic for it. So therefore, some of the steps we are taking in this bank also, that we are calling about this Union Experience branch. Basically, the basic is that okay, how this sales and service can be given in the front line. That is question of the marketing, question of the taking the new customers, that is more focus is being given for it. So coming to this point, I am telling you that another initiative just this bank has taken, which is basically implemented, and today also after this function just I am going to inaugurate, that is basically the talking ATM we are talking about. That is, it's a ATM which is basically for the physically challenged person and mostly the blind person. That only the blind persons can operate this ATM without the help of any other person. In their keyboard completely the braille language has been completely embedded there, and without any help of the other persons, just he can read this language in the keyboard itself and he can draw the money. So we think it is basically some sort of the social inclusion, not on the financial inclusion as such. So these are the few things we are thinking about, which basically relevant to discuss with. And I was taking about this, every bank is certainly, we are thinking about the, I can tell you that in terms of the growth, in terms of the profit. But as I told earlier also, the profit maximization is certainly one of the objectives. But how it can be, these maximizations can be integrated with the global development and the global benchmark, as well as this integrate to the society. I think that is the big challenge and big questions for the futures. I wish all my management students here to be really future responsible citizen, big consultants, big management expert, big entrepreneurs, challenging entrepreneurs, as well as they will be the, I think, torchbearer in the future, our corporate world as well as our society. I wish all them really best of luck, and I thank you for the patience hearing whatever little bit I could share the thoughts with all of you. And it is basically my thoughts, don't integrate with these things. It is not the question of individual, but out of my 30 years experience in the bank, I feel in this way that okay, these are the thoughts of the day we can think about. Thank you very much to all of you for your presence here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was something very experiential, enriching and encouraging. We now come to an end, and I request our director, Dr. Ahindra Chakrabarti, to propose his vote of thanks. Dr. Chakrabarti has been in academics for more than 3 decades. He has held positions as Director IILM and Director General of Fortune Institute of Management. He had been with MDI Gurgaon for more than 18 years. In 1992-93, he pursued research work in executive education at Kellogg's Graduate School of Management, USA. He has handled assignment of European Commission, World Bank, ILO and DVC to name a few. So please propose your vote of thanks.
Just I was asking that if you some small questions, 2-3 questions I can answer if something is there in their mind.
One question I can just ask you regarding SCB's restructuring. SCB's restructuring. Huge dues are there in the banking sector. Now, in case if suppose UP doesn't pay to the bank, why should say Gujarat pay to the bank? This was just running in my mind for last so many days when I was seeing that NPAs. The state government will say that why we should be. In case if UP can get the restructuring, then why we will also not.
Now your question is that okay, that the Gujarat, I could not follow.
See, the question is that there is huge outstanding of SEBs,
okay,
right? and banking circle is restructuring that particular thing. Now, Gujarat, there is no outstanding. So why Gujarat now will say that we will also not pay, and we will just have an outstanding piled up in future, and it will be restructured in future.
It is a question of the self-governance, as I told about. That okay, maybe that they could think about that okay, this is not the way to just really taking the finance from the others and behave in this way. Therefore, I am telling that it is the individual governance will be make the corporate governance. Maybe that they thought in some time back that okay, this is not the way. Why this? We could not think about this increasing the traffic long back. Why could not think about this lot of storage? Sorry, lot of pilferages being there, which is not really checked into. In this way, that again it differs. Really, it is some sort of I can tell you that lacking of the governance, lacking of the things. So chalta hai to chalne do. That is just the logic. So in this way, somehow some of the ACBs were really playing a responsibility there itself, and that may be the benchmark for the others. So in that case, it is not the way that some of the citizens are not paying the income tax at all. But as because my TDS is being deducted by the bank, I cannot curse them that okay, this fellow is not paying the income tax, so I will pay for it, isn't it? So it is again the question of the self-governance. What I mean to say that we started, the ACBs now started realizing that is very much important. And now government also realized that okay, there may be the question of the upward revision is required, pilferage to be restricted, where basically the input cost can be controlled in the various ways in respect of the generations that can be looked into. So that is the main thing about it. Today I am talking about this one. That's what I told that okay, what happened about the infrastructure about 50 years back. Really you can think of it. Okay, kacha rasta hai to kacha rasta mein chalne do. What is the problem for that? Now when I am thinking a good car, I am thinking about the good, really good road also. So what basically that maybe whatever the Gujarat is doing today, that may be the future model for the other state also, that okay, they are doing in this way, and they are having the differential rate, I understand, for uninterrupted supply or some good supply or whatever maybe there is. Everywhere is premium things are always there, maybe in the case of product or maybe in the case of service. But 1,50,000 crores is maybe about 2 lakh crores is to the ACPs. So certainly somehow we have to think where if this bank really does not restructure or do not restructure, what is the consequence there you see? Isn't it? So really where from they will get the money for? They cannot go to the capital market. They cannot really raise the money from this any other than banking sector. So certainly the government is to take some responsibility, which basically government I think coming forward. That is a good things, or I can tell you the prospective thinking. Thank you.
Can I ask one question, sir? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
This side, sir. The government of India is pursuing a policy of inclusive growth. And under this policy, the Reserve Bank of India has mandated the public sector banks to extend banking services to villages up to a population of 1,600. I would like to know from you, sir, what is the strategy which the Union Bank of India is employing to extend banking services to populations of 1,600 in the villages?
Strategy is the same basically what the government of India guidelines are there, because we have covered where this population is more than 2,000, that has been covered. And maybe that in course of that, okay, other villages also will be covered. Strategy is nothing, the new strategy, where basically we can open the brick and mortar branch, we can open there, where basically brick and mortar branch may not be viable, we are going for some sort of the business correspondent facilitator in that way. But basically the basic thing is not the question of the compliance or expanding the network, but the question is basically whether the financial services, banking services are being availed of, are being really used by these villagers. That is more important about. Therefore, it is not the question of expanding the strategy to implement, rather how this really the habit can be increased in the rural people, that okay, this banking is a facilitator and this service they must avail of it. Today is maybe the savings bank customers, but tomorrow may be the future customer of the bank. And that is the concept the bank is going for. It will take some time, but it is not the question of only covering. But I do emphasize on this issue that okay, it will be more to the how these services can be extended and some sort of the banking culture can be inculcated in the mind of the people. That is more challenge.